Hello everyone, and welcome to my final project presentation. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about Read2Learn. It's my intelligent tutoring system designed to help elementary school students learn reading comprehension skills. Like I just said, the purpose of Read2Learn is to teach elementary school students reading comprehension skills, and it's going to do that by identifying a student's preferred learning styles and providing personalized content based on those preferred learning styles. The three learning styles that we're going to be focused on are auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Auditory learners learn best through listening, visual learners learn best through seeing, and kinesthetic learners learn best through doing and being physically involved. Alright, so the method that we used in this prototype has 4 steps. The first step is evaluate to determine a student's preferred learning styles, and we do this by asking a series of questions written some for each learning style, and then based on the responses that we get, we determine a student's preferred learning style. Step 2 then is to teach. So after step 1, we're going to provide a student with lessons, and the lessons that they see are going to be provided in their top 2 learning styles. And then step 3 is to confirm understanding. So after the lesson, the student's going to be provided with a practice question just to confirm that they did understand what they learned in the previous lessons. And then step 4 is to measure. So we're going to provide a quiz at the end to see if the student, or to see how well the student grasps the skills that they learned in the lessons. Okay, so the design of my project, it was written in Java, and I used Java Swing for the UI components. I used Eclipse and Eclipse Window Builder during development, and it was developed on my MacBook, which is running Mac OS Mojave. Alright, my proposed deliverable was a working prototype of the Read2Learn application, and I presented a piece of my prototype during intermediate milestone 2, and so the changes that we've made since that presentation. First, we've added the learning style evaluation questions. Previously during that presentation, I just went straight into one of the lessons, but now we've added that evaluation. I've added auditory and visual lessons. I've added the practice question after the lessons, and there have been some minor UI and usability changes that were also made. Alright, now so we'll just jump right in to the program, and I'll show you exactly how it works. And we're just going to jump right in. So these are the evaluation questions, and so I'm going to explain what they are. I can't play this here because the audio doesn't go through to my recording, but I'll explain what's happening here. So this is an auditory question, and it says listen to the clip and then choose the most likely action that Sarah will take next. And so if you click play here, it's going to play a clip for you, just a little short reading, and it's going to be talking about Sarah, obviously. And then the student is supposed to answer the question, what will Sarah, what step will, or what action will Sarah most likely take next? So I'm just going to select a random answer because we're not really concerned with getting these right or wrong. So now we have a visual question here, and the student is supposed to read the supporting details in the visual to the right here, and select what the main idea could be. And again, we're not really concerned with what we're answering here. I'm just kind of going through and explaining what these questions are. Okay, and now it says use the buttons to the right to understand the meaning of the context clues in the below sentence. So what a student can do is they can read this sentence, and then they can click on the buttons to identify the meanings of certain words in that sentence. And then basically, now that they know the meaning of all the surrounding words, they should be able to determine the meaning of the word we're asking about, which is bizarre. And this is an example of a kinesthetic question because it allows the user to click on these buttons and be involved in the question here. We have another auditory question, and again the sound doesn't come through, but the clip is just a short reading, and then the student is supposed to answer what they can infer happened. Alright, now we have another visual question here, and we're supposed to choose what step would be added in the third arrow, and we are just going to pick an answer. And now we've got another kinesthetic question where the student should click each of the buttons to see the steps required to make a PB&J, and then they'll have to answer the question here. And then here we have a third auditory question, and then we've got visual again. This is a Venn diagram, and they're supposed to select the answer of what the Venn diagram is most likely comparing. And then we've got kinesthetic again right here. Okay, so we've completed the evaluation now. I know we just ran through it very quickly, but it says based on our evaluation, kinesthetic and visual lessons are going to be the most effective. So we'll click next to continue on to our kinesthetic and visual lessons. Alright, the lessons we're about to see are going to be on context clues. And then the strategies that we're using for context clues include synonyms, antonyms, definitions, and examples. Okay, so this is the kinesthetic lesson, and it tells the student to try using the context clues to determine the meanings of the colored words in the passage below. Then once they determine the word, they can click on it to check their work and see what the actual meaning of the word is. So we'll just click through this real quickly. So the student's going to look through this passage, try to determine what each word means, and then they can check their work. And here's our visual lesson, and it says to use the chart below to learn about the 4 different types of context clues, and the paragraph can also help understand how each of the 4 types of context clues can be used. And these are the same 4 types that we saw in the intro slide: definition, example, antonym, and synonym. So again, we're not going to read through all of this, but this is an example of the lesson that a student would see. They should read through this here and try to just gain an understanding of how to use these types of context clues. Okay, now we've moved on from the lessons, and this is a practice question to confirm a student's understanding of the lessons. And I'm going to get this wrong intentionally just to show that if they get it wrong, it's going to take them back through the lessons again. So it's saying what are the 4 types of context clues that we learned about in the lessons. And I know this is the wrong answer, but we're going to try it. And it says, sorry, that's incorrect. But it wants us to review the lessons and try again. So we're going to review. We see, oh, here's the strategies that we're using for context clues. And then we can go through this lesson again. And again, we see those strategies again. So we've reviewed the lessons now, and we're ready to get the answer correct. And so now that we've got that, we are moving on to the quiz. And so these are just some questions to review what they've learned, and I'm going to go through them very quickly. But the first one here is, what are context clues? Then we want the student to identify the meaning of the colored word using context clues. And they can tell that brittle means fragile. Then they need to identify the words that they used to determine the meaning of brittle. And in this sentence, it's easy to break. Next, it's asking what other word in the sentence could they determine using context clues. And if you read through this sentence, the answer is rare. And it asks to determine the meaning of the colored word that we just determined, which is rare, and using context clues we can tell that it means uncommon. Alright, so we've completed the lessons in the quiz and we got 100. So that's it. I do want to note, if a student were to fail this quiz, they'd get the option to go back and review the lessons again and then retake the quiz again. But yeah, that's Read to Learn. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed.